12 knockouts, 2 submissions, 13 decisions. Just how good is Max Holloway? Today we break down none other than the Blessed Express himself, Max Holloway. It is what it is. We gonna find out Saturday night. The McGregor fight is booked, and this summer of UFC will be generational. This is a matchup that just brings me back. It really does, to the good old days of UFC, like that 2016 era. International Fight Week will be a colossal one. Will it be the volume-striking demon that is Max Holloway, really forcing McGregor into the later rounds and breaking him? Or will Conor McGregor capitalize on all the damage that Max Holloway has taken over the last 13 years? Who exactly is Max Holloway? Well, he is the owner of most wins at 145, most finishes at 145, longest winning streak at 145, most strikes absorbed in UFC history. But nobody wants to talk about, let's skip by that one. He popularized the infamous 10-second point down. That actually is generational from Max. His flow states are a thing of beauty, and the Justin Gaethje KO, as well as his wins over Jose Aldo, are some of my favorite knockouts of all time. And his personality and spirit as well. It's impossible to hate on Max as a person. And because of this, I've noticed that he has probably the most diehard fan base in MMA. No big shocker, but it goes beyond a fan base at this point. It's a cult. Like Sean O'Malley and Conor McGregor get painted as the big casual fan bases of MMA, but I actually believe it's Max. The most diehard Max Holloway fans are vicious, dude. You can't even bring up Alexander Volkanovski or they start seething, frothing at the mouth. We should be able to criticize any fighter. And it's just so popular to shit on Conor McGregor these days that I think a lot of fans aren't even really breaking down this fight. They're just going with pure recency bias, and that's casual. Max Holloway is an absolute fucking legend, dude. I'm not trashing any of his career accomplishments. I'm actually being the biggest Holloway fan by keeping it real and saying no, dude, don't sleep on McGregor, dude. You've taken a lot of shots in your career. You don't hard spar anymore. You absolutely, the Ilya KO was worst case scenario when it happened. McGregor's shots are heavy, man. You really got to watch out for them. So no shade to Holloway. I know the Holloway fan base is a cult and they're going to come for me, but bring it on. I've already done a deep dive video on the fight itself where I get real on everything. We talk about striking styles, fight IQ breakdowns. Check that out if you haven't seen it already, but now I'm doing a 2-part series on both of them. Let's break down the origin of Holloway. Max Holloway is MMA royalty, been in the UFC for 14 years, and started his MMA journey with hardly any professional training at all. He's literally grown up through a large part of his youth and young adulthood in the UFC fighting. He has learned and grown only at the highest level. His resume is absolutely world class, not even just for name value, but just look at this longevity through the years. This is honestly pretty mind-blowing. This is what tells us that Max is elite. Not the knockouts, not the highlight reel, not the emotes that he does, not the sound bites. It is the decade plus that he has spent climbing through the ranks of the UFC. Most fighters, they take a couple fights and they go on one contract and then they're out of here. They get slimed out on the prelims, but Max has been doing this for almost longer than anyone. Head trauma has complicated his career, so much so that he no longer hard spars. This paired with weight cutting so brutally in his featherweight days, that has made me really concerned about his ability to take punishment at this stage, now that he's moving up to heavier weight classes. Max Holloway's whole style really hinges on if he can take your power, because if he can, you're cooked, okay? For every one punch you land, Max Holloway will eat it and come back with 3, 4, 5 more. But nowadays, we're seeing him get rocked and stung and dropped by Poirier, Gaethje. But I think it's time we dive into some stats and abilities of Max, so like, comment, and subscribe to your boy, and let's take a closer look into the legendary career of Max Holloway. Arguably the best boxer in the UFC, with an unending gas tank and furious combinations. Strike accuracy, 48%. Strikes landed per minute is 6.9. Max Holloway has earned the MMA world's respect due to just the sheer amount of strikes he dishes out. His ability to gauge range and his fast feet make him not a powerful striker, but an agile one. The longer the fight goes on, the more reads Max makes, the more violently opportunistic he becomes. Strikes absorbed per minute is 4.6. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we find out on Saturday night. Max is also quite the punch magnet, and it's a bit too much of a brawler's mentality to just trade blows like this. You need to avoid being countered, and Max is, in fact, the most hit fighter in UFC history, absorbing roughly 3,000 strikes. This just showcases his toughness, yes, but the best chin is really one that doesn't get hit, as all the boxing unks say, but a takedown average of 0.2, a submission average of 0.2, and a takedown accuracy of 53%. Max isn't a grappler. I'm personally not fooled by his black belt because I've never seen him utilize it. He's been very lucky to go so long without fighting a wrestler. I mean, the Khabib fight would have been bad, I think, had it actually happened, and I think if Oliveira can take him down and school him, so can Arman Sarukian. Strike defense of 59% and a takedown defense of 81%. Holloway's anti-grappling stats are very good. The baseline takedown defense and sprawl is very, very good. He only has one submission loss to Dustin Poirier. That's a very good look, and that was in his early career when he was a baby in the game. He's always been known to be a hard guy to manipulate and submit, but once you get him down, it seems easy to maintain control. Oliveira really had no problems with it, I mean, and I think this is due to just the fact that Holloway has had so many striking matchups in his career. Like, 81% is a high stat, but you have to consider, has Holloway ever really fought a wrestler? A knockdown average of 0.3. This is a little concerning. It's not that Holloway is an absolute pillow puncher, but in the early rounds, he's not a dangerous guy. Max likes to get comfortable, get his footwork and kicks going, and then the chaos begins. And so yes, while a couple of his knockouts are insanely fucking violent, don't get suckered into thinking he's this big KO guy. He's not. He never has been. He's a volume striker. Evidenced by this final stat, an average fight time of 16 minutes, 39 seconds. His strengths: high volume, great brawler, very tough. Max wins by parrying his way into short range and letting loose a never-ending avalanche of punches. He's never feared entering the pocket with anyone, and while that has burned him in the past against Ilia Topuria, he's considered one of the toughest fighters in the UFC featherweight division. We'll see if that carries over to, lightweight and welterweight. His weaknesses: bad reach and no offensive grappling. Max loses by lacking the correct body type for his brawling style. He's tall with short arms. It's not very ideal, but not saying he has a freak show physique, but this results in him getting hit a lot. He is sort of a punch magnet because of his ape index, and, we're well over a decade into his career now, and it's all been at the highest level, but we're finally starting to see signs of wear and tear on Max. Like I said, with the concussions, with the slurred speech, how he had to stop hard sparring. So Max is in this weird spot where he's got like this superhuman durability and like this Hawaiian bone density, but head trauma is no joke, okay? Not saying Holloway's like heading into his Ferguson arc. I don't think that's going to happen with Max, but I do worry about the possibility of brain damage. His best performance was masterclassing Calvin Kattar. Now, Max's ability to not only throw never-ending combos, but also change up the target on the fly is what made this fight so special, setting the highest strike record in any fight ever. Max just never stopped striking. He had Kattar worrying about every single possible strike. Max landed body shots, not only with just his right hand, but also this beautiful, super underrated spinning back kick. He also brought in low kicks. They were a nice touch. So already, Holloway has Kattar reacting to multiple attacks, all targeting different areas of the body. Also in round 2, Holloway leapt into short range with this skull splitter elbow. This sounded like 2 baseball bats hitting together. This was nasty. So while Holloway was putting on, one of the best masterclasses in UFC history, it should be mentioned Calvin Kattar was overrated, and that hurts to say. He was a pure boxer who was just allergic to clinching, and that's why you saw Holloway trap him on the cage like this, is because Calvin Kattar he's never grappled a day in his life. He doesn't even have a standing clinch. No Muay Thai. It's only boxing. So of course Holloway had a field day. And round 4, guys, gave us the ultimate UFC soundbite. Holloway yelling at Dan Hardy, who's cage side commentating, "I'm the best boxer in UFC, baby," while no-look matrixing Calvin Kattar's punches and using only his peripheral vision to land his shots. Like, this whole fight was like a fucking movie. Most fun, his Dustin Poirier trilogy. Now, this might piss some of you off, but I think Holloway and Poirier are 2 of the most evenly matched fighters in UFC history, because you have the volume of Max kept in check by Poirier's Philly shell and boxing expertise in this beautiful sort of like, not mirror match, but I just think they're perfectly suited for each other. I'm so happy they did a trilogy, but it's Holloway who's out-evolved Poirier. Okay, Poirier got the McGregor fight, he, got a shitload of money off that, and it was Holloway. Meanwhile, Holloway was, duking it out with Volkanovski 3 times. The experience you gain from that is out of this world, so it was Holloway that out-evolved Poirier. Dustin did have his moments. He did his patented switch from southpaw into orthodox and fires that right cross, which skims the back of the head of Max, causing a flash knockdown. And, Poirier, his dumbass from Louisiana could have gone from just take top position, dude. Just get your ground and pound on like a wobbly opponent. But no, he was silly and he jumped the ghillie when you just shouldn't have had to. But, Poirier, it's his retirement fight. He goes for the storyline. He goes for the aura. And he couldn't get it. Oh well. At the end of the fight, Max would offer, the classic stand and bang in the final 10. But Poirier had a Vietnam flashback of Justin Gaethje doing the exact same thing and being left lifeless in front of the entire world. So, he threw up a crafty combo and ducked into the clinch for safety. Coward. But it's a very even, fun, back and forth battle. I'm so happy that this was Dustin Poirier's retirement fight. Max is such a class act and a worthy dance partner. So, a hard-fought decision win, earning Max the make-believe BMF belt. And lastly, the Conor McGregor rematch. This fight absolutely would have fed families if it was back in, say, 2016, 2017, but we're getting at 2026, and I think things have massively changed. I think in all that time, Max Holloway has taken an unbelievable amount of fucking head trauma, and look, I know the cult-like following of Max Holloway is going to, come for my neck after those comments, but I really don't care. Look, I've made my arguments. I've dove into the data and all their past fights, fucking Donald Duck into a pile of gold coins. I've gone into the analytics, okay? I think Holloway's in trouble because Holloway is a notorious punch magnet. He's a tall fighter with a bad reach, and he needs to be in short range to have success. Conor McGregor is a master at not letting you into short range. Obviously, the old version of Conor was much better at this because he was karate-based, taekwondo-based with the kicks, and his range management was good. Now his legs are all sorts of fucked up, so he's way more boxing heavy, but I still think this fight is dangerous for Holloway in the early rounds, which is why I don't think it's a Holloway layup. I think it's closer to a pick'em. And just me merely suggesting that has the Holloway Glazers just attacking me, which bring it on, dude. I love this shit. All I want in life is matchups in MMA and in the UFC that make us feel like this, that get us super competitive and even I gotta defend my guy. I love this shit. So I'm so happy we're having these talks. This is what my other video looks like. It's a complete stat spread. We break down all the data. We go into body breakdowns. We go into striking styles, who has better fight IQ, the works. So you should go check out that video if you haven't seen it. And all the damage that Holloway has taken over the past decade far exceeds like McGregor's 5 years out, like nursing a broken leg. I think McGregor is finally well rested from like nonstop media tours, nonstop training camps. Like, you guys forget, Conor McGregor used to be one of the more active, the most active fighter like ever, like taking these big main events back to back. His body crumbled, and it was really sad to see like the road that he went down, but I think he'll actually turn in a decent performance. Max Holloway's coming off a pretty bad loss to Oliveira, and I think he'll be eager to get into the pocket and throw down with Conor, and Conor will line him up for a counter shot. So we all love Max Holloway. I just think some criticisms are fair in this fight, and let me know what you guys think down below. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all real soon.